Football is a simple game enjoyed by millions across the world. 22 players on the pitch trying to put one round ball into the back of a net. However, sometimes in football things do not always go as expected, and sometimes an event may occur called a ghost goal. By definition, a ghost goal is either a goal wrongly awarded despite the ball not having crossed the line, or a goal wrongly not given despite the ball having crossed the line. In today's video, we will go into the most infamous ghost goals in football history. Of course, if you are new here, then please go and drop a subscription on the channel. It does mean a lot. I do hope to hit 400,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and with us being just around 35,000 subs away, I think that is more than possible. So please help me out. If we can, let's try to hit 3,500 likes, and comment down below, do you remember any of these ghost goals? Did I forget any? Of course, we like to delve and investigate many aspects of football. So have your say on the channel and tell me what we should do next. Of course, shout out to my design company, mazzaladesigns.co.uk. Thank you for all of the love. Thank you for over 4,000 orders, which is incredible. And right now we're having a summer sale, so code SUMMER for 10% off all prints, mugs and t-shirts. The link is at the top of the description, and let's get straight into it. Let us start with a bang. Labelled probably the worst decision I've ever witnessed in football. Was that a quote by a manager or player that was incredibly jealous of a decision that went against them? No, that was a quote by Stephen Hunt, a Reading player, and what you're about to witness is potentially the worst ghost goal in football history, not by the meaning of it, but just by the actual act itself. The date is September 20th, 2008, a relatively normal game. Heading into the fixture, Reading was still recovering from the relegation from the Premiership. The referee was a man called Stuart Atwell, and he blew the whistle for a lovely game of football. Just after the 10-minute mark, the visitors, Reading, won a corner, and a goal-mouth scramble ensued. Following plenty of flailing limbs from both sides, a strike cannoned off the crossbar and was cleared. As it was cleared, Atwell blew the whistle, pointing in the direction of a free kick. This was following from a signal from the assistant referee. At the time, around 15,000 fans didn't really know what was going on. There was no foul in the box and no obvious offsides, so what was a hold-up? The referee and the linesman spoke for many minutes, to the confusion of all the players, coaches and supporters on the pitch. Many minutes later, the referee, Stuart Atwell, blew his whistle once again and pointed to the halfway line. Reading had been awarded a goal. The goal was marked as a John Eustace own goal, despite the footage you see in front of you. I'm losing words. I'm looking at it right now. How it was believed that the linesman thought Eustace had taken the ball across the goal line in an attempt to clear the danger, when in fact the Watford captain had actually been on the other side of the woodwork and stood on the byline. In the confusion of it all, Aidy Boothroyd, Watford's manager, was sent off. Incredibly, Watford did come back to lead 2-1. However, Reading did convert a late penalty to make it 2-2, and that was that. With many players astonished with one of the most incredible decisions in football history. And I shall play it again. How was that given as... I can't believe it. One of the worst decisions in football history. Now, I know that many of you will be waiting for this, so let's give you it right near the start. Potentially one of the most impactful ghost goals in football history was in a 1966 World Cup final. England played West Germany at Wembley Stadium, and it was a very intense game. And with the score, the goal lines back in these days were painted with chalk, and the Germans pleaded to the referee that they saw the chalk fly when the ball hit the ground, indicating that the ball hit the goal line and not over it. However, of course, all the English players swore that they saw it clearly go over the goal. The Swiss referee at the time, called Gottfried Dienks, wasn't sure and consulted with his Soviet assistant Tofik Baramov, who with these two discussing, awarded the goal. England went 3-2 up, and after this infamous they think it's all over moment, scored a fourth to win the World Cup final 4-2. With the footage that any World Cup comes up, for many years this was always debated of did it go over the line or did it not. However, in recent years, as technology has got better and better, including the introduction of goal line technology, the goal line footage has been rendered with the new technological advances, and with this information they have in their experiments proven once and for all that it did go over the line. Despite this several years coming out to be the correct decision, still makes this one of the most infamous goals in football history. One of the most recent ghost goals that have caused a lot of attention was between Serbia and Portugal in the World Cup 2022 qualifiers. It was the 27th of March 2021, and Serbia and Portugal played against each other in the second match week of the group, and one decision took place which ended up making a massive impact in the long run. In a group of Portugal, Serbia, Luxembourg, Azerbaijan and the Republic of Ireland, with only one guaranteed qualifying spot available, unless if Ireland got their act together. Spoiler, they didn't. It was going to be a straight shootout between Portugal and Serbia, and this game was very important. Portugal started fantastic with 2 goals from Diogo Jota, going 2-0 up ahead away in Serbia. However, Serbia did show some great grit and desire and got back to 2-2 thanks to goals from Mitrovic and Kostic. The clock was ticking and we were going down to the last minute of the game. In the 90th minute, a diagonal ball got sent into the box with Ronaldo at the end of it, with a simple touch putting the ball past the goalkeeper, and it was rolling into the back of the net. This was until Serbia's number 13, Mitrovic, cleared the ball off the line, or so we thought. Thanks to television replays, you can clearly see that the ball did go over the line. However, the linesman thought differently, and the goal did not stand, leading to the game drawing 2-2, and later on down the line, in the last game of the group, this came to be fateful, as later on in September, Serbia came to Portugal in the last match of the group, and thanks to a last-minute heroics by Mitrovic, Serbia qualified for the FIFA World Cup, and Portugal had to go through the qualifiers. This one error by the linesman could have cost Portugal the World Cup, but the question is that I know you're thinking, there's such thing called goal line technology, right? Something that is very well known to be a standard in this day and age. In Serbia, in this stadium, goal line technology was not there. The most iconic part about all of this is the fact that Ronaldo was claiming that it went over the line, and out of complete bemusement of the goal not standing, he threw his armband down in disgust and stormed down the tunnel, throwing his hands together to say, "I'm done," throwing his armband down and left the pitch. Many people question Ronaldo of his professionalism in this situation. It can be seen as disrespect to throw the captain's armband down and to leave your team while the game is still ongoing. In the end, Portugal did qualify to the World Cup through the qualifiers, and this was forgotten in time. However, it could have been a fateful decision if it did not go their way. In what has become one of the most talked about debates in recent Premier League history, a match between Aston Villa and Sheffield United took place in the Premier League. Match day 29, and Aston Villa are up against it in a tight relegation fight. Sheffield United, however, were having the season of a lifetime, currently being 6th place in the Premier League table and only 4 points off the Champions League. In a game that had a lot on the line at this current moment in time, the game ended 0-0, with one decision overshadowing the entire game. And what was reported as an injustice happened towards Sheffield United in the favour of Aston Villa, as Sheffield United had a free kick on the left far side of the pitch. Oliver Norwood sent the ball inwards, going towards the back of the goal. As it floated towards the players, it then continued to float over the players and was creeping its way towards the top right corner of the goal, with Aston Villa's goalkeeper Nyland scrambling back. As Nyland frantically jumped backward to try to reach the ball before it ended up in back of the net, he then made contact a Aston Villa player, and with this connection, with the ball in his hands, stumbled over the goal line clinging to the side netting. With all footage and every angle seen, it cannot be any more clear that the ball ended up behind the line and it was a goal. Many of the Sheffield United players were celebrating. Many of the Aston Villa players looked dejected as they knew the ball went behind the line. However, something happened. At this stage, in every Premier League game, you had goal line technology called Hawkeye. This was also a year where VAR took control of many of the headlines. However, just with Hawkeye alone, just with this implemented, it meant that a decision like this should be straightforward, easy decision, and it should therefore mean that no human error would be impacting a decision like this. However, there was one problem. Hawkeye was not turned on. A report came out that Michael Oliver's watch had gone off during half-time. The match officials did not receive a signal to the watch nor the earpiece from the goal decision system. However, another question was asked. There's VAR, which is there to review situations like this. What happened with that? Well, under protocol, VAR is able to check goal situations. However, due to the fact that none of the on-field match officials did not receive a signal, they had no understanding that there was a problem in the first place, and therefore VAR was not ordered to intervene. As to the minds of the referee, despite everyone claiming it went over the line, for him, in his supposedly flawless system, it said that it did not go over the line. It must not have. This ended up being a potential fateful mistake, as Sheffield United couldn't get 2 more points that they should have had, which could have been a massive difference in their charge for European football. In more fateful matters, Aston Villa gained a point from that situation, from that mistake, which, if they did not have that point, then they would have been relegated from the Premier League, and Bournemouth would have survived, as Aston Villa stayed up by 1 point and by 1 goal on goal difference. If that goal was given as it should have, Aston Villa would have gone down with level points but -2 goal difference. Fortunately for Bournemouth involved, they did bounce back to the Premier League 2 seasons later. However, still one of the most remarkable debates I've seen in recent Premier League history. On the 18th of October, Hoffenheim hosted Bayern Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, and what ensued is one of the most controversial and somewhat comedic ghost goals in football history. You absolutely must have seen this clip at some stage in your life, but if you somehow haven't, then I've got something fantastic to show you. Bayer Leverkusen were 1-0 up in the 69th minute and had a corner. The ball got whipped into the near post, where Leverkusen striker Stefan Kiesling made contact with the ball with his head and headed it towards the goal. However, something happened. As the ball flew narrowly wide to the left-hand side of the post, Stefan Kiesling was seen in frustration of missing the target, as he puts his hands on his head in frustration of missing. However, a sudden realization was made as the ball was in the net. Every single player on that pitch saw the ball miss a target. Every single player started getting into positions as if it was going to be a goal kick. You can see the difference in reaction to the players that saw the ball miss a target and the others that didn't. So to his surprise, he turns his head and sees his own players celebrating with him. You can see the corner taker Castro going to Kiesling saying, "Shut up," as the striker Kiesling didn't know how to react and was going to ask a question of what happened. After an investigation, the ball had ended up in the back of the net after squeezing through a hole in the side netting. This was unnoticed by everyone at the time, and the goal was allowed, which caused much debate after the match. Hoffenheim understandably felt cheated, however, with appeal of trying to replay the game. Upon this appeal, the German FA rejected their appeal to replay the game. This led to a bitter taste as the game did end 2-1. This event led to one of the most iconic and bemusing clips in football history. So, you know earlier when I said that there was an England v West Germany ghost goal? Well, lightning struck twice, this time in the favour of the Germans, and in fairness is nowhere near as impactful really compared to the FIFA World Cup. However, some like to think that it can make a massive impact in the long run. On the 27th of June, England played Germany in the knockout round of the 2010 World Cup. England were 2-1 down, and in the late end of the first half, Frank Lampard shot the ball and it hit the underside of the crossbar, resulting in the ball crossing the line and bouncing back into the field of play due to backspin. However, neither the referee nor the assistant referee were in a position to award the goal. Had the goal been given, England would have been drawn level at 2-2. However, the goal did not stand, and Germany went on to win that game 4-1. The German media saw this as revenge for Wembley, seeing it as karma taking place in its finest hour. As for many Germans of a certain age group, they've always held a bit of a bitter taste towards England for that alone. Never mind other historical reasons that are quite obvious. In terms of purely football, this is one gripe that's always been held. Of course, looking back on the goal, it cannot be any more obvious of it going over the line. It is not like the Aston Villa v Sheffield United goal or the actual ghost goal back in the 1966 World Cup, where it is very fine margins, where you can kind of understand human error being a part of it. This was beyond over the line, that it even should be not even in doubt. As predicted, the English media went ape shit. Since this event, it charged a massive debate into goal line technology, which, due to this, it really forced it into place. And since 2013, Hawkeye goal line technology was formed. Just say that to the Sheffield United players. Tell me down below in comments below. On January 4th, 2005, a match was played between Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur in what was a largely boring game and was destined to end as a 0-0 draw. Something happened late on to give everyone something to talk about. Some players take it upon themselves to try the unthinkable, and that is what Tottenham Hotspur's Pedro Mendes attempted to do. The ball was cleared up the pitch, and Pedro Mendes, out of nothing, with the ball still bouncing, with his first touch, smashes it towards goal. With the ball skying across the sky, you can see Manchester United's goalkeeper Roy Carroll sprint and scramble towards a goal. All of this happening in a span of 4 seconds. The ball flying high from the sky towards Roy Carroll, but it seemed quite reasonable for him to still claim the ball. However, as he tried to collect the ball from the sky, it bounced off him and fell backwards towards the goal line. As he jumped and reached back, the ball bounced over the line, and you can see the panic in his face as he thought that the goal would have been given. However, to the bemusement of all Tottenham players, the game continued. The linesman somehow missed, despite the entire ground recognising an epic clangor, as he missed the ball going over the line. In fairness to officials, they are always told to not give a decision unless you are ultimately certain, and in this situation, the linesman that was best placed didn't have the full certainty that it went over the line, and the game ended 0-0. All in all, not too much happened from this error, other than a pretty funny clip. However, it did prevent Tottenham Hotspur's first victory at Old Trafford in 16 years. I think it is fair to end off this video with the goal that coined the term ghost goal in the first place. Back in 1994, Bayern Munich player Thomas Helmer scored a goal past Nuremberg, and due to an error of judgment by the match officials, as the ball missed the goal, instead went over the byline, the goal stood and was called the Phantomtor. However, in English language, it was coined by a certain manager that I'm sure you've heard of, called Jose Mourinho. In the 2005 Champions League semi-final, a match between Liverpool and Chelsea took place in the second leg, and a decision was made that could have changed Liverpool's recent history. With the first leg at Stamford Bridge ending 0-0, the away goal rule would be really important, as if Chelsea scored one goal, despite drawing 1-1, Chelsea would qualify for the Champions League final. I tell a lie. As he made contact, it also deflected off John Terry, and it was slowly bouncing towards the line, towards the goal line more specifically, as Chelsea's number 13, William Gallas, ran onto it and cleared the ball off the line. As the roar from the Anfield crowd deafened the officials, the goal was given. Of course, this was before any goal line technology or VAR, it was purely on what the officials thought at the moment in time. However, due to the positioning of William Gallas, it wasn't completely clear to the officials if the ball went over the line. Now, using modern technology, using the VAR system, they've ran this same goal through technology, and with this, they made a decision that the ball indeed did not cross the line. In fact, looking at technology, the ball wasn't really near crossing the line and was more out of it than in. The interviews that came from Jose Mourinho was iconic, to say the least. As we can see from this footage from a Liverpool fan at Anfield, coined the Zapruder film of football, which is an incredible link, I can't lie. And with this, you still can't really say the ball went over the line. And it was mostly understood that the ball did not go over the line. However, it was given. Reverse Istanbul, the comeback, may not have ever happened. However, you never know, Liverpool could have still went on to win the game or to win in extra time or penalties, so this isn't completely concrete. However, this is one of the most iconic ghost goals in football history. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the most infamous ghost goals in football history. Tell me down below those that I may have missed. I'm sure there are some from other leagues or other nations, however these are the most common. Tell me down below if you did enjoy. I really enjoyed making this. I've never seen a video of people going into ghost goals on YouTube, so I felt like this was a unique, original idea. So tell me if you want to go into other aspects of football. I'm sure there's so much more I can go into. So tell me down below your thoughts, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time.